Welcome to tonight's guided sleep story, The Lighthouse by the Sea. As you settle into the comfort of your bed, let the gentle sounds of rain softly tapping against your window envelop you in a cocoon of calm and tranquility. The distant, rhythmic roll of thunder over the ocean blends with these soothing droplets, creating a symphony of nature's lullabies, perfectly orchestrated to guide you into a deep, restful sleep. Imagine, if you will, a quaint village nestled on a rugged coastline, where the boundaries between land and sea blur under the veil of a silvery fog. Here, the air is tinged with the salty kiss of the ocean breeze, and the only light that pierces through the dense mist is the steadfast beam of the lighthouse, standing sentinel atop the cliff's edge. As the rain intensifies, its melody grows richer, adding layers of soft, pattering beats against the leaves and the roof above you. It's a natural lullaby, with each droplet a note in the quiet symphony of the night. The storm outside may be building, but here in the warmth of your room, it only adds to the sense of peace. The walls around you hold strong, your shelter from the chaos outside, making this space your sanctuary. The lighthouse, an age-old beacon of safety, casts its light in a sweeping arc over the turbulent sea. It's a symbol of guidance and protection, themes that you will find woven through tonight's story. As you listen, let your troubles drift away on the outgoing tide, carried far from reach by the strong currents of the ocean. Tonight, you are not just a listener, but a visitor to this distant shore. Feel the soft, warm blanket around you and imagine it's made from the wool of the sheep that graze on the verdant hills surrounding the village. Smell the fresh rain mixed with the earthy petrichor as it grounds you in the here and now, pulling away the day's stress with its refreshing scent. In this safe, serene world, the storm outside grows more theatrical, the flashes of lightning adding brief, brilliant illumination to the sea's tapestry. These flashes are distant enough to add to the ambiance without disturbing the peace. They reveal the churning waves, the foam-topped crests rushing toward the rugged coastline, each one crashing in a spectacular display of nature's power and beauty. The thunder, once a distant rumble, now adds depth to the night's chorus, a bass to accompany the rain's treble. It rolls over the hills, a gentle roar that echoes through the valley and mingles with the wind's whispers. This elemental symphony is punctuated by the lighthouse's steady light, a beacon for those lost at sea, guiding them back to safety, just as tonight's story promises to guide you to a place of inner peace. As the minutes pass, the room seems to grow cozier, the storm's energy not diminishing but reshaping the space into an even more secluded retreat. The soft flicker of candlelight on your bedside table casts dancing shadows across the room, adding to the enchantment of the night. These small flames, secure in their holders, are like the lighthouse's light, small but fierce in their purpose, undeterred by the wind and rain. Now, as the rain continues its gentle serenade and the distant thunder softly rumbles, prepare to step into the story of The Lighthouse by the Sea. Let the world fade away as you journey to a place where time stands still, and the sea, with its infinite mysteries, whispers the secrets of the deep in the language of waves and wind. As you drift further into relaxation, let your mind's eye transport you to the cozy, warmly lit interior of a quaint stone cottage perched on the edge of a cliff. Outside, the storm continues its symphony, but inside, all is calm and secure. The cottage, surrounded by wildflowers and the lush greenery of a well-tended garden, overlooks the vast, churning sea, offering a panoramic view that is both breathtaking and soothing. In this cottage, there's a sense of timelessness, as if the modern world has gently receded, leaving behind only those things that truly matter: peace, beauty, and the rhythmic lull of the ocean waves. The furniture here is rustic, made from the driftwood and flotsam gifted by the sea, each piece bearing the subtle, salty scent of brine and mystery. The walls are adorned with paintings of ships and stormy seas, their frames made from the same sturdy wood that forms the backbone of the cottage. Imagine now that you are seated in a comfortable, overstuffed armchair near a crackling fireplace. The flames dance with a hypnotic, mesmerizing glow, casting a warm light that flickers across the room, chasing away any remnants of chill brought by the storm outside. The windows, though battered by the rain, hold strong, their glass stained with the salt of countless storms, each droplet a prism through which the lighthouse's beam intermittently flashes. On a sturdy, handcrafted coffee table beside you, a steaming mug of tea sends up wisps of steam, blending with the homely aromas of wood smoke and damp earth, a fragrant reminder of nature's enduring presence. The tea, flavored with herbs from the garden outside, carries hints of mint and lemon balm, its warmth seeping into your hands as you cradle the cup, feeling the soothing heat permeate your skin. As the scene settles around you, there emerges from the storm a character as integral to the story as the lighthouse itself. His name is Eli, the lighthouse keeper, an elderly man with a thick, flowing beard and eyes as deep and blue as the ocean he watches over. Eli, dressed in a heavy fisherman's sweater and oilskin jacket, enters the room with a friendly nod. His presence is comforting as the fire's warmth. He carries with him the salty air of the sea and a lifetime of stories etched into the lines of his weathered face. With a gentle smile, Eli invites you to listen to the tales of the lighthouse, his voice a soft, gravelly timbre that resonates with the wisdom of years spent in solitude amidst the capricious moods of the sea. As he speaks, he gestures to the lighthouse visible from the window, its light a constant, rhythmic pulse that seems to beat in time with your own heart. Eli begins his story with the history of the lighthouse, how it was built over a century ago to serve as a guardian for the ships that navigated these treacherous waters. He tells you of the shipwrights and stonemasons, the brave men and women who constructed the tower from the very granite that underpins the land on which it stands. Their story is one of determination and skill, a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless drive to tame the wildness of the sea. As the night deepens and the fire burns lower, Eli shares tales of storms past, each one a fierce battle between sea and shore. He speaks of nights like this one, where the wind howled like a pack of wolves and the rain fell in torrents, and how the lighthouse stood firm, its light a beacon of hope in the pitch-black night. Listening to Eli, you feel a profound connection to the place and its history. Each word he speaks seems to weave a tapestry of narrative that covers you as surely as your blanket. His stories are not just recounts. They are lessons in courage, resilience, and the eternal vigilance required to keep the darkness at bay. Throughout his storytelling, the storm outside ebbs and flows, a natural cadence that underscores the drama of Eli's tales. The lighthouse, with its unwavering beam, serves as a metaphor for steadfastness in the face of adversity, a theme that resonates deeply in the quiet spaces of your heart. As the firelight casts a gentle glow across the cottage, you notice the depth in Eli's eyes, reflecting decades of witnessing the sea's myriad moods. Settling more comfortably into the armchair, you feel the warmth of the hearth and the soothing ambience enveloping you further into relaxation. Eli, sensing your readiness to delve deeper into the world he guards, prepares to share not just the history of the lighthouse, but also his personal journey as its keeper. Eli begins by recounting his early days as a young man, drawn to the sea's call, which was as natural to him as breathing. Born in the village below, he was a fisherman's son, raised on tales of the ocean's generosity and fury. From an early age, Eli learned to read the sky and sea, predicting weather changes with a glance at the horizon. His connection with the ocean was profound, a bond forged by lineage and strengthened by daily communion with the waves. The day he became the lighthouse keeper, he recalls, was the day he truly understood his purpose. It was as if the light from the beacon not only guided ships, but also illuminated his path in life. With a solemn yet proud tone, Eli describes the ceremony of passing the lighthouse key, a tradition as old as the lighthouse itself, where the retiring keeper entrusts the next guardian with the duty of keeping the light alive. As the keeper, Ailey's days and nights revolved around the rhythms of the lighthouse. He speaks of the meticulous care required to maintain its machinery, the polishing of the lens, the winding of the clockwork, the cleaning of the lamp, to ensure that not a single night passed without the light shining forth. His responsibility extended beyond mechanical upkeep. He was also the sentinel who watched over the sea, ready to sound the alarm during storms or when ships strayed too close to danger. The lighthouse became his world, and he became part of the lighthouse's soul. Over the years, Eli formed a routine that bordered on ritual, each step taken with respect for the role he played in the safety of those at sea. Mornings were spent inspecting the grounds and the light, afternoons dedicated to repairs and upkeep, and evenings reserved for the vigil that ensured the light performed its duty through the night. Ellie's voice grows softer as he shares stories of the nights spent in the lantern room watching over the infinite sea. These were the moments he cherished most, the quiet solitude where he felt a deep peace, punctuated occasionally by the thrill of aiding a ship's safe passage. The solitude was not loneliness, but a companionable silence that spoke of fulfillment and a profound sense of purpose. As the rain outside taps rhythmically against the window, blending with the crackle of the fire, Eli pauses to stoke the flames, adding a log to ensure the fire's warmth continues to embrace the room. The flickering light reflects off his face, revealing the lines etched by wind and salt. Each a story of a storm weathered, a crisis managed, a life saved. He then recounts one particularly perilous night when a fierce storm caught a ship unaware, its hull grievously close to the jagged rocks that lined the shore. With the lighthouse's beam obscured by an unusually dense fog, Eli had to rely on his other senses and his deep knowledge of the sea's voice to guide him. He describes how he rang the fog bell manually, each strike a desperate plea for the ship to turn away from impending doom. That night, the ship's crew, hearing the persistent clang of the bell, adjusted their course just enough to skirt disaster. The relief Eli felt as he watched the ship's lights fade safely into the distance was a reaffirmation of his life's commitment. It was moments like these that underscored the vital importance of his role, not just as a keeper of the light, but as a guardian of lives. With every tale, Eli's connection to the lighthouse deepens in your mind, intertwining his life with the pulse of the beacon that casts its light tirelessly. He doesn't just operate the lighthouse, he embodies its spirits, its persistence, and its unwavering commitment to safeguard the boundary between sea and shore. As the fire crackles and casts a warm, inviting glow around the cottage, Eli, the seasoned lighthouse keeper, leans back in his chair, the leather creaking softly under his weight. The storm outside still whispers against the windows, a gentle reminder of the ever-present sea's moods. Eli's eyes, lit by the firelight and memories, fix on a point somewhere in the distance, perhaps on a night long past or a storm that left its mark on his soul. He begins to share the heart of his story, the tales that have rippled through his years at the lighthouse. Each story, layered with the weight of experience and the gravity of the sea's unpredictable nature, comes alive in the dim light of the room. You find yourself drawn into his world, where the boundary between the past and present blurs, and the tales of the sea become as real as the sound of the waves crashing in the distance. Eli speaks of a time when the lighthouse was more than just a structure. It was a lifeline for the village below and the ships that dared to traverse the treacherous waters. He recounts the great storm of '78, a tempest so fierce that it reshaped part of the coastline. That night, Eli tells you, he wasn't sure if the lighthouse would withstand the fury of the wind and waves. But it did, as it always had, its light slicing through the veil of rain and darkness like a beacon of hope. With a deep, resonant voice, Eli describes how the village rallied the next day. The storm had left its scars, but the community spirit remained unbroken. Men and women worked side by side to repair boats, clear debris, and restore the small docks. The lighthouse, standing undamaged, was a testament to their resilience and a symbol of their collective strength. His stories weave through different eras, each marked by its own challenges and triumphs. He tells you about the lonely winters when the sea froze at the edges and the light from the lighthouse fell on nothing but ice. These were quiet months, filled with introspection and the meticulous maintenance of the lighthouse's inner workings. Yet even in the coldest, most isolating parts of the year, there was beauty. Ilya recalls the way the ice would glint under the sunlight, like a million diamonds spread out as far as the eye could see, and how the silence of the frozen sea made the lighthouse's beams seem even more vital, a steadfast guard against the night. Then there are the tales of ships and sailors, some touched by fortune, others by folly. Eli shares the story of the Maiden's Voyage, a ship caught in a sudden squall that almost dashed it against the rocks. The captain, a seasoned man of the sea, had misjudged the storm's quick descent. It was only the lighthouse's steadfast beam and Eli's quick thinking, firing up the old foghorn that hadn't been used in years, that turned the ship away from disaster. The crew, grateful and shaken, later came to thank him, bringing gifts of foreign spices and woven fabrics, tokens of their far-off homes. Amid these tales of survival and danger, Eli's voice softens as he recounts the friendships he's forged over the years with those who make their living by the sea. Fishermen, sailors, and even the occasional adventurous tourist have all shared their stories with him, gathered around this very fireplace. Each person left a piece of their story with Eli, and in return, they carried away tales of the lighthouse keeper, who was as much a part of the sea as the waves themselves. As the evening wears on, the storm outside begins to wane, its fury spent. The sound of the rain softens to a gentle patter, like a quiet accompaniment to Eli's deep, soothing voice. In these moments, you realize how the lighthouse is not just a beacon for ships, but also for the souls of those who seek comfort in Eli's stories, a guiding light through the storms of life. Eli's tales are not just narratives, they are threads of a larger tapestry, depicting the life of a man whose existence has been irrevocably intertwined with the sea and the light he tends. With each story, you feel a deeper connection to this place, to the lighthouse that has stood as a sentinel over the years, and to Eli, who has become as much a part of this landscape as the rocks and the tide. The room is warm, the air filled with a mingling sense of burning wood and sea salt, a reminder of the natural harmony between land and sea. Eli's stories invite reflection, a chance to see the world through the eyes of someone who has stood watch over the changing tides of life and nature. And as the night deepens and the fire dwindles to glowing embers, you find yourself enveloped in a profound sense of peace. Eli's voice, now a gentle murmur, continues to weave tales of bravery, beauty, and the enduring light of the lighthouse. In these stories, you find a comfort that lulls you deeper into relaxation. Each tale a wave washing over you, drawing you closer to the shores of sleep. As the fire dwindles to a warm glow and the storm outside finally quiets, Eli shifts slightly in his chair, the leather creaking softly under him. The atmosphere in the cottage feels charged, as if the air itself anticipates the turn of the tale. With a knowing look and a voice lowered to a near whisper, Eli begins to unveil a more mystical layer of his life by the sea, the legend of the ghost ship. Ninja Keeper has passed down tales of the sea, stories of man against the elements, stories of survival and loss. Eli begins, his eyes reflecting the flicker of the last few flames. But there's one tale that doesn't get old, a story that lingers in the air like the salty spray of the sea. It's the tale of the ghost ship, the siren's call, a vessel doomed to roam the waters near this lighthouse, forever caught between the worlds of the living and the dead. Eli pauses, ensuring you are absorbed in the setting, the soft crackle of the firewood punctuating the silence. It was many years ago, he continues, on a night much like this one, when the storm had raged with a fierce appetite, leaving only the echo of its wrath in the early dawn. That's when I first saw her, the siren's call. Her sails were tattered, and she glowed with an eerie light, cutting through the fog like a knife through butter. According to Eli, the legend began over a century ago when a ship caught in a terrible storm veered off course. The captain, a young, ambitious seaman, had ignored the older sailors' warnings about the perilous waters near the cliffs. Driven by a desire to prove his mettle, he pushed the ship too hard, too fast, straight into the heart of the storm. The ship struck the rocks not far from here, Eli narrates, his voice dropping to a somber tone. All hands were lost to the sea that night. Since then, on stormy nights, the siren's call appears, her crew bound to sail the waters endlessly, a ghostly reminder of man's respect for the ocean's might. Eli explains that seeing the ghost ship is considered an omen, though opinions vary on what it foretells. Some say it's a warning against hubris, a reminder of nature's dominion over human ambition. Others believe the ship appears to those who, like its captain, are at a crossroads, offering a chance to correct their course before it's too late. The first time I saw her, I feared what her appearance might portend. Eli admits, leaning closer, as if to share a confidential secret. But as I watched her glide silently through the water, her sails flickering in and out of existence, I realized that she wasn't a harbinger of doom, but a guardian of sorts. She was a lesson carved out of a history, teaching us that even in death, there's a story to be told, a warning to be heeded. Over the years, Eli had seen the siren's call several times, each appearance etching a deeper understanding of the sea and its mysteries into his soul. He had come to look for her on stormy nights, watching from the safety of the lighthouse as she made her silent passage along the coast. As you listen to Eli's tale, the boundaries of reality seem to blur and the mystical becomes tangible. The cottage, with its thick walls and sturdy windows, protects you from more than just the physical storm outside. It shields you from the depths of the unknown, from the ghostly realms that skirt the edges of our world. Eli's story weaves a spell, the narrative drawing you into a world where ghost ships sail in endless penance and lighthouse keepers are the custodians not only of human lives, but of ancient legends. The mystique of the siren's call envelops the room, casting shadows that flicker and dance with the flames. The sea has many faces, Eli concludes, his voice barely above a whisper now. Some are as beautiful as a calm sunset, others as terrifying as a raging storm. But beneath them all is a world as deep and fathomless as the darkest night, filled with stories waiting to be respected, learned from. As the fire's final embers cast their last light and the sound of the now distant waves sings a haunting lullaby, you find yourself drifting deeper into relaxation. Eli's tales, especially the legend of the ghost ship, leave you in a state of wonder, where sleep is a passage not just to dreams, but to a sea of stories, floating just beneath the surface of consciousness, ready to reveal their secrets to those who dare to navigate their depths. As the final embers of the fire glow softly in the hearth, casting a gentle, flickering light across the room, Eli's eyes carry the reflection of the deep, introspective journey he's been on throughout his life as a keeper. The wind outside has softened, leaving a stillness that hangs in the air like a thick, comforting blanket. Eli shifts in his chair, a thoughtful, almost wistful expression crossing his seasoned face as he prepares to share a defining moment in his tenure at the lighthouse. There comes a time, Eli begins, his voice steady but filled with emotion, When a man meets the very storm he spent his life preparing for, not just the kind that churns the sea, but the one that stirs the soul. He leans forward, the firelight catching the earnestness in his gaze. For me, that storm came one winter night, fiercer than any tempest I'd ever faced. Eli recounts how the sky had turned an ominous shade of black as night fell, the sea roiling as if angered by some unseen provocation. The wind howled like it was speaking in tongues, and the rain beat down with such force it felt like the heavens themselves were trying to cleanse the earth of all its ills. As the storm built, Eli continues, the waves crashed against the cliffs with the wrath of giants. It was as if the very elements had decided to test the limits of my lighthouse and of me, its keeper. That night, the electricity faltered and the backup generator failed, a rare occurrence that challenged Eli's usual calm demeanor. The beacon that had stood as a reliable sentinel now flickered uncertainly, threatening to leave the coast shrouded in darkness. With the storm at its zenith and the lighthouse's light wavering, Eli faced a pivotal decision. There I was, the only thing standing between safety and disaster. It was up to me to keep the flame alive, no matter what, he says, a note of resolve threading through his words. Eli describes climbing the narrow, spiraling staircase to the top of the lighthouse in near total darkness, armed only with a handheld lantern and his years of experience. Every step was a battle against the wind that screamed through every crack, every crevice of the tower. But my heart was set. I would not let that light go out. At the top, battling the ferocious gales that threatened to sweep him off his feet, Eli managed to manually ignite the backup oil lamp, a relic seldom used but maintained for such emergencies. Lighting that lamp felt like lighting a torch in the midst of a tempest, he recalls, his eyes bright with a memory of the challenge. As the oil lamp cast its modest glow, a temporary but vital beacon in the storm, Eli stood watch throughout the night, ensuring the light did not falter again. That night, I wasn't just a keeper of the light, I was its guardian, its warrior, he reflects, with a blend of pride and humility. As dawn broke, revealing the storm's aftermath, Eli witnessed the debris-strewn shore and the damaged but still standing lighthouse. It was more than just physical endurance, it was a spiritual trial, he explains. I had faced down my deepest fears, not just of the physical danger, but of failing in my duty to protect. The storm had indeed been a crucible, testing his resolve, his bravery, and his commitment to the light. But it had also brought a deeper understanding of his role, not just as a keeper of a lighthouse, but as a steward of hope, a beacon of resilience in the face of life's inevitable tempests.